Welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just got back from watching Emily Blunt's and Ryan Gosling's new movie, The Fall Guy. And yeah, if you've seen any trailers from this at all, this movie delivers exactly what you wanted to see from the trailers. And by that I mean this is as much a action movie as it is a comedy movie, as it is a romance movie, as it is just a love letter to movie making and stunt work, and it's all just, it feels very sincere. That's what I'll say about this movie, is that like it doesn't feel like any of this was made any kind of like cynical way of like oh, we're making fun of, you know, we're making fun of movie producers, we're making fun of this, we're making fun of that. It's like, you know, they're gonna poke some jabs at like the movie industry a little bit, but like this is definitely like made with passion, I guess I would say it that way. I would say the comedy mostly works. I really enjoy the comedy. You know, both Ryan and Emily both have some really good comedic beats, and I think they work well together. The romance works. In fact, the romance part kind of feels like callbacks to like old 80s romantic action movies. They've had a lot of those back in the day, and this kind of feels like a callback to kind of an older style of movie that we don't really get as much these days. But also, yeah, the stunt work in this is amazing. Of course, I think the director, there was a little snippet preview before the movie actually started where it's Ryan Gosling and the director goes on about how like used to be a stuntman, and this is all just like, you know, I saw headlines about how like, you know, this is kind of a reaction to how stunt work largely gets ignored in the industry, you know, especially like when it comes to award season, you know. And this is something that I've heard going on for years and years now about how like, how is it that there's no Oscar category or award recognition really at all for stunt work, which is like a fundamental part of movie making, right? It's like, it seems like such an obvious thing for stunt work to get any kind of award recognition, and it just kind of doesn't. And this movie directly addresses stuff like that. I think the only thing I could really compare this to, not like, you know, not that it's the exact same tone, but it almost reminded me of Tropic Thunder. And Tropic Thunder, I think, was a lot more of a cynical kind of like, hey, we're almost taking like hateful jabs at the industry kind of thing. Whereas this does it in a kind of same tone, or same style at least, of like, oh, hey, we're kind of making fun of actors, we're kind of making fun of these producers, but it's definitely not as, I guess, mean about it. It's not as like hard R about it, you know. So it's definitely a lighter touch, but it does kind of remind me of like, okay, we're kind of talking about similar things. This movie even gets, you know, a little bit super meta, not as much as Tropic Thunder, but there are some meta moments where like even early in the beginning there's one character who's like, hey, what if you know, it's a writer on the movie that they're making in the movie. The writer of that movie is like, hey, what if you know, what if we had one of the characters directly address on screen that we're having problems with the third act? And she's like, no, I don't think that'll work. And then of course, because they said that, that's exactly what they were trying to, you know, they're just making a joke out of it, right? Like that's exactly what they did in this movie because they had a character say that. So yeah, just it was just a really good time. I don't know, it just kind of feels like we don't get romantic action comedy movies like this very often anymore. It feels like a lot of this stuff kind of goes like straight to Netflix or something. So I would say this is definitely worth checking out. There's also somewhat of a mystery thriller almost at times, you know, because like you're stuck trying to figure out like what happened to the star of this movie, and he's hunting down this person, hunting down that person, and you know, you can tell like, okay, some people here are you know, betraying him, and they're actually in on whatever scheme is happening. And I will say probably halfway through the movie you can kind of at least get a sense of like what the big reveal or twist is gonna be, but nonetheless I really enjoyed this one. Like it, you know, the reveal was cool, the comedy worked, The romance worked. You know, even some of the satirical elements worked, but also just like you can tell this is just a love letter to like movie making, stunt work, just all of it. You know, like these people really loved making this thing, and you know, this is the message they want you to walk away with, is like, hey, there's a lot of great people who do really fantastic work and they don't get recognized, and that kind of sucks, you know. And I will say this also, just because I feel like a lot of people are going to miss this. You know, no spoilers, but so the movie ends and you're going to be left with maybe like a couple questions as to like, well, what happened to those characters? Because we kind of saw them just hanging out and it feels like that was left unresolved. There is a mid-credits scene. It's after they do some, like, you know, they show like stunt work and a bunch of like, you know, real life stunt workers who worked on this. There's a mid-credits scene where they go back to like, okay, well, here's what happened, and they answer the question. So just, you know, if the movie ends and you're like, wait a minute, what happened to this? Just wait a little bit. Wait, give it like 10 minutes. They're gonna show you a thing and it directly answers what happened. So, you know, they didn't forget. They just for some reason put it, you know, I guess they wanted the satisfying conclusion, and then they're like, okay, here's the answer, by the way. It was pretty funny. And yeah, just that's the Fall Guy. I mean, you know, I think the chemistry between all the characters really works. You have what's his name? I can never remember this. He was Kick-Ass. He was Quicksilver. Aaron Taylor Johnson, maybe. I want to say that's his name. I don't. Maybe. Anyways, you have him playing the movie star that they're all looking for, and whenever you see him, he's like, you know, he's of course like this pompous movie star who like. He's like the douchiest guy in the world. You know, so just everyone does really well in their parts. And I love the message that they, you know, came out with this movie with, just like, you know, just an appreciation for the art of stunt work, because it is an art, you know, and just, yeah, I really had a great time with this one. So take your significant other to see this one. You know, they will find stuff to love in it. It's got plenty of action and comedy, so I think generally everyone can watch this and find stuff that they love about this one. So yeah, great job, The Fall Guy. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Bye.